Hey everyone, okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about a rumor that came to light a couple of days ago from Mice Age, or Mice Chat. And there's a gentleman by the name of David Koenig, okay? Now this gentleman, he released an article about what comes after Star Wars Land. Now for those of you that don't know, Star Wars Land is supposed to open spring or summer of 2019 over at Disneyland in Anaheim and in Florida at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So this article, link in the description below, touched upon what comes after Star Wars Land. What is Disney going to set their sights on after they're done with Star Wars? So there's a lot in this article, and I'm going to touch upon some of the other aspects in other videos, but right now I'm going to focus on one of the rumors, okay? Now, the rumor I'm going to focus on in this particular video is Fantasyland. Supposedly after, according to David Koenig in this article, supposedly after Star Wars Land is completed, Disney's going to focus its sights on Fantasyland. They want to bring this land to the new age. They want to modernize it. They want to basically infuse new technology and new ways to tell story on these classic Disney dark rides. Peter Pan, Snow White, Pinocchio. They really want to be able to utilize new technology and make these attractions relevant for newer audiences, okay? Now, one of the rumors that he did mention in this article was the possibility that Mr. Toad might actually get the axe, that they might actually get rid of Mr. Toad and replace it with something else. This is actually part of the article that kind of depressed me a little bit. I actually love Mr. Toad. It's an amazing attraction. I love that ride, and I would be extremely upset actually if they got rid of it. And again, these are rumors. We don't even know if that's going to happen or not. I guess a few years ago, I think it was when they were discussing where to put the Winnie the Pooh ride in the early 2000s. Mr. Toad was one of those attractions that they were looking at to get rid of and put Pooh in. So, as you guys know, in Florida, I think they got rid of their Mr. Toad ride. So, it is a possibility. I really hope that doesn't happen, though. I do love Mr. Toad. So, aside from that, though, the rest of the article was very positive. It's basically saying how they want to expand Fantasyland. They want to bring it to the new age. Now, there's a lot. Now, Fantasyland, keep in mind, Fantasyland was redone in like the earlier mid-'80s. There's a lot of new films that Disney Feature Animation has done since the mid-'80s. The entire Renaissance period, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Mulan, Princess and the Frog, Tangled. I can go on for days. There's so many movies that they can base attractions on from this new modern age. And we've already seen recently with the Red Rose Tavern, which was, for those of you that don't know, they took the old village house, the Pinocchio restaurant, and they kind of did a temporary overlay for Beauty and the Beast, and it's a massive hit. There's lines, hours long lines to get into this thing, and it's a massive hit. And that goes to show you that a lot of these modern classics really strike a chord with people. So it would be a big moneymaker and a really huge opportunity for Disney to expand Fantasyland and add some of these newer films that are so beloved and so loved with current audiences, to bring those into Fantasyland. So yeah, they could bring in Tangled. They can bring in Beauty and the Beast. That'd be great. And I think these films need to be represented at Disneyland. These are classic films now, and Fantasyland is very short on the modern classics. They have a lot of the older stuff, Snow White, Pinocchio, all that, which is great, but they're really short on the newer stuff. and I think that it would be really good to infuse some of that newer stuff into this Fantasyland expansion. One area in particular that I think needs the most work for Fantasyland is the Fantasyland Theater over there in the back where they play Mickey's Magical Map right next to the Toontown Depot. And maybe you guys disagree with me, but I think that theater, the vinyl tent or whatever, I think that theater is so ugly, such an eyesore, and I really hope that any Fantasyland expansion addresses that. I would honestly, I would be fine with losing a theater, bulldozing that, and basically building either an e-ticket in that area. I don't even care. You know what? Build Arendelle over there. I don't even care. Just get rid of that ugly vinyl tent. I just, for me personally, I don't like it. But they could do anything. They can make a mini Frozen Land over there. They can dice the area up and do like 3 or 4 dark rides. You know, they can do like a Princess and the Frog ride and a Tangled ride, Mulan ride. They can do a lot. There's a lot of real estate over there in that general area, and you know, right now it's really not that well themed. The theater itself is very ugly. The area around it is like a sea of concrete. They could do a lot with that particular piece of real estate. So hopefully any Fantasyland expansion addresses that corner of the land. Now, another big thing that they might do, and I don't know, this is just my my guesstimation, so to speak, is take Toontown and sort of bring it into the Fantasyland fold. Now, what I mean by that is, what they can do is they can bring the architecture from Toontown kind of into Fantasyland, okay, and they can kind of seamlessly transition the architecture from Toontown into Fantasyland and kind of make Toontown like a part of Fantasyland. That's another possibility. You know, they might do that. I have no idea. A lot of their other parks that Disney has, they've kind of either gotten rid of or reworked their Toontown areas. So it wouldn't surprise me if Disney does a similar approach with our Toontown. Again, this is my estimation. I don't know. I'm just kind of, it's fun to kind of think about the possibilities. I think that is a possibility. Maybe not necessarily get rid of Toontown completely, but sort of work it into Fantasyland where it blends in with the rest of the land and sort of becomes part of Fantasyland. So, that's what we're dealing with here. The article is in the description box, in the description below. I linked it. Go ahead and read the article. There's a lot in that article in terms of what comes after Star Wars Land. I'm gonna make a couple other videos in regards to those other aspects, but right now I'm focusing on the Fantasyland side of things. But comment, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Fantasyland needs an upgrade, needs an expansion? They need new stories represented in the land? Or do you think Fantasyland is pretty much perfect as it is and they shouldn't change it? Should they keep it as it is and leave it? So let me know what you think. Comment below. I appreciate all your guys' comments. I love talking to you guys. Let me know what you guys think about Fantasyland expansion. Like, subscribe. I do content on Disney all the time. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.